when you lie to yourself. Always give too much of you to someone else. I'm talking to you now like we're old friends. It'll never be too late to start again. Find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love, love. It's love, love. Find something you can hold on to. Find someone who'll be there for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. Find somewhere you can come home to. Find someone that'll die for you. 'Cause that's all that really matters in the end. It's love, love, love.
Hey, Eula, my brother. Happy Saturday, dude.
Incoming transmission from E_Boiler.
Oh, I just noticed the alerts
back, baby.
overlay isn't set up on the starting page. Dang it, I'll have to fix that. One sec. Hey, Mini Wheat, Dante, what's up, my dudes? Happy Saturday. Give me 1 sec. Take 2 weeks off of streaming, you forget how to do the basic shit. Hang on, guys, I'm getting set up. Let's see if it works. Hey! Well, it kind of. Mox did. Rude. Oh, it didn't connect because the server was turned up. That's right. Just turned it on. Hey, there we go. Oh, thanks, Boo Boo. Yeah, guys. Hey, Faz, what's up, man?
Incoming transmission from E_Whaler.
Yeah, guys. I've fished a lot. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. I don't know if I need to fix that again. Dang it. Let's see. Yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, isn't on the Discord or on X, I posted on there, but the last stream when I ended rather abruptly, I had just gotten a call from my mom. She came in, and it's not unusual for her to call me at odd times. She doesn't want to forget something, so she'll just call me and leave a voicemail. It's like, all right, so no big deal. Then about 10 minutes later, I got a call from my dad. Now, the two of them calling in conjunction is very suspicious. So I hop on and step away, I caught my dad, and he tells me that my brother found my sister deceased in her bed. So that's where I've been. That's what we've been going through. That's what we've been dealing with. And so it's been a hard couple of weeks. I actually just got back from training in Seattle for the past week too. I had originally tried to think about trying to start streaming again last week, but I couldn't get a mobile streaming setup done in that time frame. It actually worked out better because I ended up having a lot of late nights as part of the streaming and just getting to know my new coworkers. And plus, I think the time away was good for me. And so that's what's been going on. So things are a bit chaotic now. I don't even have a plan for tonight. I was like, we're gonna wing it, but I got to get back into it because I've missed doing it and getting with stuff. Yeah, and it was a complete shock for everybody, Euler. Like, we didn't know if it had been my parents or any of my brothers. I would have been maybe half as shocked, maybe as much as even just a quarter as shocked. But for it to be my sister was completely 100% unexpected. It was a complete blindside. Thanks, Dante. I appreciate it, man. And last week really had me concerned because I didn't know what the schedule was with anything. This training was very important, and so thankfully everything last week went off pretty much without a hitch. It went very smoothly. So last night was really kind of the test. So I was traveling from last Monday, and I got home last night. And got home kind of early, got to have dinner with the kiddos and play with them and see them, miss them a lot. But all the times right after my sister died, it would always hit me like in the evenings. Like I kind of think about her during the day, but man, I tell you what, as soon as the kids were in bed, and that's when it would just like, right in the back of the head. So last night was kind of my test where I was like, all right, well, let's see if it happens again. And it didn't. So the time away kind of helped. Just the time in proximity kind of helped. I was like, okay, I don't have any excuses now. I need to start getting back onto doing my streaming and learning and everything last night. So here we are, guys, with no plan, but we're gonna figure some shit out. Quiet's always hard with major events. It wasn't even so much the quiet, because this was something I discussed with my dad. So, and he's like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because it's after like everybody else is taken care of and set up, and then they're good. You're not like on either like producer or protector mode, right? It's the end of the night, and then of course now that's when your brain's gonna let the guard down and let you deal with this stuff. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Dad's a smart guy. So, actually, I thought tonight one thing I wanted to do was get back into. I wanted to go look at Last Week in Security because there's been some cool stuff coming up from that, and I haven't been doing that. I thought, okay, you know what? That's a cool way to kind of get things going again. So I wanted to kind of dive into that. Let's see. So it's September 23rd. I think I missed 2 weeks worth. I don't know if I want to go run through 2 weeks, but actually, those said there wasn't very much for the 16th. Or let's see, maybe I'm mistaken. Oh no, there was plenty in there. Okay. Oh yeah, so I've not read up on the Cups exploit, Euler. So let's go look at that real quick. Linux Cups exploit POC. Let's see if I can, because there was a proof of concept leaked for it. Let's see. So in theory, all affected versions were less than 2.0.1, which is why it was such a big deal. Came from Evil Socket, and Evil Socket usually doesn't. I mean, he's a pretty well-known researcher. He usually doesn't blow stuff up like that, like say, oh, it's massively critical when it's not actually pretty critical. So. he's talking about. So a series of bugs in the CUPS printer discovery mechanism, CUPS browsed, and other components in CUPS system can be chained together to allow a remote attacker to automatically install a malicious printer or hijack an existing one via MDNS to execute arbitrary code on the target host. As the LP user, which is a print job, when print jobs were sent to it. Gotcha. So, as a reference useful what to understand the main flow, so the CUPS browsed discovers a printer via UDP probe or DNS SD. It connects to an IPP server ordered by the advertisement and fetches its property. So these properties are saved to a temporary PPD file and used to describe the printer to the rest of the system. So the following report explains how to exploit this in order to force the service to write user-controlled data to the temporary file and ultimately achieve code execution via a network request. Now that would be interesting because typically just attaching stuff to a file doesn't give you that, right? Like if you just have arbitrary file write onto a system, that still could be a pretty good stretch from a remote code execution. Let's see. Now, I've been talking to a couple of guys about this, and they said even if it wasn't exposed, in theory there was a way to make it work because of the way you could manipulate MDNS traffic, but it's all suspect. So I was like, let's go ahead and read through them. So the component responsible for discovering printers on a network, adding them to a system. So we got two distinct protocols. There's UDP 631, or the bind service. The service binds on all interfaces. UDP 631 accepts a custom packet from any untrusted source. So the first and most severe attack vector, as is exploitable from outside the LAN if the computer is exposed to the public internet. Yeah, and I know a lot of people were trying to actually downplay this a bit, but you go look at Shodan here. Let's just go look at it real fast. Can I open? Open. Dang it. I want to log into Shodan. Anyway, when you run a query like this, I saw some of these queries. You're talking about like 70,000 machines exposed on the internet that had this exposed out. So, not a trivial number, right? Let's see. Also listens for DNS advertisements. So in both cases, when a printer is discovered by either UDP packet or DNS, its IPP or IPPS URL is automatically contacted by a CUPS browser and a get printer attribute request is sent. Okay. So among other things, this leaks the kernel version via the user agent header. Not a big deal. Very low severity finding. Let's see. Please note that it's not enough for the IPP server to respond with a valid response in order for the printer to be added to the system. If discovered via MDNS, an existing printer can be directly hijacked. Oh, okay, so if you had an existing printer, you could also do it. Its IPP URL replaced with a malicious one, making it indistinguishable from the original. Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a nice man-in-the-middle attack right there. Let's see. So for bug number 2, there's a CF get printer attributes API does not perform any sanitization on the IPP attributes returned by the server. So attributes that are saved as they are in a temporary PPD file. Let's see. So it's also possible to note that this guy right here, I love these names. The PPD create PPD from IPP2 makes sense when you think about it that way, but it's just like alphabets. It doesn't perform any sanitization itself, and in fact just writes the file attributes directly. Just writes to the file any attribute components. Oh, so not only can you set the file, you can set the components to it. Like, I'm guessing... Well, when he says components, I'm guessing he means... like, the permissions for it. Like, you can set the user, group, read, write, execute permissions. Hey, Sim, what's up, dude? Oh, I even forgot I had this shirt on, man. Yeah. Those I can't see. Hold on. There we go. This shirt. My dad got this for me because he knows I'm a giant math nerd. Although I feel like I should stop calling myself a math nerd because I haven't really done a lot of math since I graduated from college and just kept working in IT. So I worry about when my son gets back up towards calculus, because I'm gonna have to remember all the freaking rules for integration. Doing derivatives is easy. Doing integration is such a pain.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Yeah, Pythagorean theorem was so fun they threw his ass overboard for proving it. Because if y'all didn't know this, there was a group of people called the Pythagoreans. I think they were called the Pythagoreans, but their whole deal was that there's no irrational numbers. So a rational number means anything that you could eventually, through manipulation, express as a fraction. Some whole number over some whole number. Well, an irrational number is one that cannot ever be expressed in that way because it continues on indefinitely. It's an infinitely long series of numbers. And the square root of 2 is such an irrational number. So as they're doing the Pythagorean theorem, they realize that this is irrational. This is irrational right here, if you had a 1, 1 in here. Here I am bombing polynomials. Everything after pre-calc is disgusting. No, not really, dude. Actually, I wish they would teach calculus in the way it was taught in the old days. It didn't used to be derivatives, which is finding out how fast something changes, versus integrals, finding out basically what the overall change in something is, if you think about it that way. Or like how fast is the line moving versus how much shit's under the line. That's the two differences. It used to be taught as something called analysis, and you actually went through and derived out a lot of this stuff. They shortcutted a lot of it whenever they created like the Calc 1, 2, 3 curriculum. And so while it's helpful and it's more applicable to a lot of things, I prefer the analysis method better. Like I said, again, giant math nerd. All right. Okay, so back to the POC. Let me think about this. So if they can write basically unfettered stuff to it. So I'm reading through this code real quick. It doesn't look like you can write arbitrary attributes. It just looks like you can write some arbitrary data to the command line, right? See, here's the command line right here. So this allows an attacker to return a malicious IPP attribute in the form of the printer privacy policy URI. So it's just one of several attributes that can be used. The RCE also confirmed with printer info, printer name, and printer make model. All right, so is this, I mean, this is code, he's talking about this as code getting written to a file. But is this code that's also just getting executed? That's what I'm curious about. Like, it looks like what he's doing, he's injecting something into this pre-filter right here, and then a new line, and then at the cups filter. Right? So what he's doing is something just a very simple file injection at this point. So I'm very curious about this, and also about this right here. I have to go dig in. Oh wait, hold on. Let's see. So looks like he's got the URI here. Then he has an escaped. This is going to be probably a new line right here. I think %5c is a new line. So he does this. %22 I think is semicolon. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. But it looks like, yeah, so he's probably triggering a new line right here, inserting this as a property, which is the Fumatic rip command line, which becomes this guy right here. And then lets the rest of it kind of continue as normal. Interesting. So, I mean, he's getting code execution. I think one of the biggest kickers, though, is if you remember up here earlier, he mentioned that cups by default, like on Ubuntu, runs as the LP user. So that's probably a low preview. So this would be akin to, like, anytime you've exploited Apache, it's running as the web user. That's cool, but you're going to need some kind of local privilege escalation. Kind of work beyond that. I never want to take calculus again. Doesn't help with anything, but all these courses required as a prereq. You're not wrong there, SM. The requirement for calculus is a bit extreme because my wife had to take calculus and they have never once used it. Ever. She's yelling at me from the other room. Ever! Because she does forensic genetics and all their stuff is statistics based and the math is already like solved and proven. And they just get to use the derived formulae for that. I think it requires a non-standard config too. Okay, possibly. Okay, so if I had just read the next line, I would have seen what he was actually talking about. But yeah. Because this is the section right here, right? So all this gets thrown in. Let's see. So what this will do is this will set the cup's privacy URI to a valid value, but also add the Foomatic RIP command line. What an unfortunate name. RIP. And the cups filter 2 entries, also known as the space between cups filter 2 and the semicolon. Its purpose is to bypass a couple of trivial checks that are okay. So these two particular lines that we're injecting kind of right here essentially tell cup system to execute the Foomatic RIP filter binary when a print job is sent to the printer. It's then used to exploit a vulnerability that's already been patched. It was already patched? The Foomatic RIP command line is then used to exploit a vulnerability that was already patched. Oh, okay. So it looks like... So the fix was here. Hold on, I'm curious about what this fix was. What is it? I can't pull it up anymore. Let's see. So here's the change log. They said Foomatic RIP retrieves stray characters from the Ghost script line, something else for rendering. Security fix. It was possible to make cups executing arbitrary commands as the system user LP when Foomatic RIP was used as a cups filter. Fixed by not parsing name options when Foomatic is running as a cups filter. Interesting. So when was this fixed? When was this done? The date on this. I want to go through all the code on it, but I want to know when this was actually fixed, though. Because if he got Foomatic fixed... Wait, no, look at this. Committed on 2011. So, wait a second. How was this commit done in 2011? Was Cups using like an older version of the library? Oh, you know what? If I just read the damn article, it tells us the fix is not present in Foomatic RIP.c from Cups filter. Yeah, so it was fixed in Foomatic, but it wasn't fixed in freaking Cups. Hang on, let me get to turn the fan on. It's hot as hell in the office. There we go. Airflow. Cool. So that's still charging up. So that's funny. So I don't know what Foomatic actually does. Hang on. I'm just curious what this does. Foomatic filters. So filter script used by printer spoolers to convert the incoming PostScript data into the printer's native format using print driver specific but spooler independent PPD files. I mean, that sounds like it's pretty... And look at this. This library is fucking old. 22 years ago committed. This library is older than some of you. 399 commits. Hang on. I gotta... The last commit was 2013. Holy shit. All time. Hold on. So 22 years ago would have been 2002. I can't go back to 2002? Stuck. Commits on 2010. So that's an old ass library. Git isn't that old, but Git will trust a lot of the data sent to, I mean, Git is old. GitHub is not, right? So GitHub is just a fancier, prettier front end to Git. Let's do that real quick. Also, hey, honey, what's up, dude? Let's see. Okay, so this 13-year-old vulnerability which fix was never ported to this library has now replaced it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, man, it's I spent the day over at my parents today. Was just I know you know, but I was just telling everybody about it, and was just helping them out some more. We're trying to find a more permanent living arrangement for my parents because one of the hard things about losing my sister was that she did a shit ton. So she didn't have a job, but she had plenty of work to do, right? So she took care of my parents, she took care of my kids, she took care of like numerous family kids at church, like not every day, but like go help out with them, look after them during special events, stuff like that, and did a shit ton of stuff around our church. So I mean, she just left a huge void that we're trying to figure out how to fill. And like, how the hell did one person fill all this? She was a pillar. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so it's been, it's been a trip, guys. And it was new pain for me in a way because I've not lost anybody that close to me before. Lost cousins, lost longtime friends, but not a sibling or anybody, that I was that close to. I mean, my wife and I had plans on how to take care of her after my parents died, because she didn't have a job. She wasn't employed in that way. And so, like I said, I expected her to outlive us all because my older brother is a good chunk older than the rest of us. One brother has lived a hard and fast life. The other brother doesn't take care of himself. And then I just do stupid things, and I work in a profession of career criminals. So I fully expected she was going to be the last one standing. Oh, you got to go to the gym with your oldest today? Awesome. Dude, I cannot wait till I can find a cool martial arts school to start going to with Agent Zero. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Especially since now he's gotten like really competitive doing the 4-wheel racing. I really hope that he's gonna take to it like I did. Because dude, I used to freaking live at the school, my martial arts school. I was up there for 5 hours a day, like 6 days a week. Lived there. Anyways, all right, so back to the cups thing here. So how does an attacker exploit the vulnerability? So an attacker can exploit this vulnerability if they can connect to the host on UDP 631, which is default bound to any address, and if it's on the same network as the target, then using MDNS advertisements. So what do they gain? Remote execution and arbitrary commands when a print job is sent to the system printer. So here's the kicker. I think this is where the big letdown happened. Like, all this was building up. Remote execution when a print job is sent to the system printer. How many people are printing from Linux? There's not a lot of people printing from Windows anymore these days, let alone printing from Linux. Still a very cool discovery. Neat research. But this is one of the things I think a lot of people screw up whenever they're reading these vulnerabilities and they're running around with their hair on fire and like, oh my god, the world's going to end. There's going to be a new Linux worm. No. Because there's usually some prerequisite like this. Here. Where it's a corner case of a corner case. Because security, contrary to popular belief, has gotten a lot better recently. You just have to wait until they print their new proof of insurance card. So in 6 months you can cash your shell. Yeah. Hey, Ken. What's up, dude? Oh, yeah, exactly. I think I printed something from my work laptop. In 6.5 years, I think I printed a grand total of 5 times. Maybe once a year. Hey, Sniper, what's up, dude? We're just looking at the new, we're looking at the new Cups exploit. So, since I've been MIA for a while, there's a little bit of catching up to do. So I was like, I was going to go through last week in security. I'm sure this is in there. Oh, no, because I think this actually just came out after it. So, anyway, one of the guys reminded me about it. I was like, oh, yeah, I need to go actually read up on it. The training I went to in Seattle was really cool. It was about attacking Azure, and Intra. And I've got such a better grasp of it now. I'm going to try and see if I can get myself a developer license so that we can do this. However, there's some catches to it. So I got to talk to some folks. I think I can still get a developer license that we can use on stream. Because I could really easily go get one from work. That's fine, but I need to use that for work stuff. I want to get a special one just for doing stuff on the stream. So I don't have to worry about those crosshair. The ads are rolling, so we'll chill out for just a second. My printer at home goes brrr, but my wife uses it a lot for kids and students. See, Oni, I had been thinking about getting a laser printer because the same reason. My son is homeschooled. My second son, he's going to be homeschooled. Number 3 is on the way, so that one's going to be homeschooled eventually too. And I was like, if I could get myself a bulletproof laser printer, I'll be in pretty good shape. Especially for some of the stuff I want to do with my son, because really the main subjects I want to work with him on are math and mechanics. So I've got spare engines for ATVs at the shop. So one of his things I'm going to do is I've got an old busted up one. I'm going to have him take it apart so he can learn and draw. He likes to draw from like diagrams, like say, hey, you know, kid, I want you to draw this, right? He'll look down at it and he starts practicing drawing it. So he likes to draw with like a model to it. So have him start practicing his art by drawing the different mechanical components and stuff. So there's just lots of cool things we can do with that. Once he gets a little older, we'll throw some math in there too. Why? Because if you can't figure it out, just math it. Hey, there we go. Okay, ads are done. Let's see. All right, so how was this vulnerability discovered? So a lot of curiosity when I noticed UDP 631 bind, and I was like, what? And just went down a rabbit hole. Had a lot of good old source code auditing. Nice. Is the vulnerability public known? No, the bugs are not known, and the Fumatic Rip command line vulnerability is known, but it's already been patched. Yeah. Any evidence of this being actively exploited? Not to my knowledge. Alright, so that's all going on there. Cool. Hold on. So I'm attaching exploit code. It uses the IPP server package run as exploit.py, and it will create temp I am vulnerable. So actually, this brings up a good point. Something I've mentioned before is like anytime you get this kind of exploit code, like proof of concept code, you have to remember 2 things. One, it's usually severely out of the box hamstrung. So don't think, hey, I got the proof of concept, I can just go phone the system and get a shell on it. A lot of people that write these proof of concepts don't do that anymore. It was more common back in the day, like in the early days of ExploitDB, and it was mostly done for bragging rights. But one of the things you always want to make sure and do is understand what exactly it's doing. Because I also had another friend, every time he released a proof of concept, he would put an RMRF for the entire root of the file system as the last command. So it ran, and you'd exploit the system, but then he would it would wipe your system. And he called it punishment for not reading the code first before executing it. So this all looks fairly benign. So he's just doing a bunch of imports in here, makes a malicious printer class, makes a few function definitions. Oh no, these aren't function definitions. These are, I forget what the hell Python calls them. One of the things you want to look out for if you ever saw this kind of code is like weird lines that don't make any sense. Like if you didn't understand what this line was saying here, you definitely want to go through and read it and understand it. So anything basically you don't understand, you can't tell exactly what it is just by looking at it, that's what you want to go audit whenever you're doing this proof of concept type checks. Like for example, if it had a hard-coded IP address in here, like okay, why is that IP address there? Is it running some kind of encoded blob up here that's triggering a reverse shell to their system? That has happened too. That people release bogus proof of concepts, and really it's just exploiting their system. You know, it's like a watering hole attack. Alright, cool. So an attacker can exploit this vulnerability if it can connect via UDP 631, which is by default. or if they use their DNS advertisement. So the impact, remote execution of arbitrary commands when a print job is sent to the system printer. So this would be impactful for a very small subset of systems, because like I said, this is the one. When a print job is sent to the system printer. So how often is anything being printed from X? You know what, actually, I can think of one area this might be impactful, but it's still a bit of a corner case. Hang on, let me think about something. Yeah, I'll let it finish charging. But one of the things you can do is like a lot of industrial printers, right? Ones that are like, they're churning out thousands and thousands and thousands of these things. Those might be running Linux with cups set up on them. But you're gonna have a whole different set of issues with that. Because are those systems even running an Intel-based processor where this might work? Actually, it shouldn't matter, come to think of it, because this is all being parsed as clear text, right? And there's no buffer exploit to it. So this should be cross-platform compatible. It shouldn't matter if cups is running on like x86, 64, cups. If it's running on x86, 64, ARM, Mac. In theory, all of those should be vulnerable. There you go. Gosh, that's funny. I think this person here that posted this. Security researcher and co-founder. But yeah, so that's the cups exploit. The kicker there is you need somebody to print. Good luck with that one. Of all the Linux systems I've broken into, I've never seen one that looked like it had any mild inclination to go send a print job. Let's see here. So, like I said, I got some catching up to do. Plus, I didn't have anything else planned for tonight, guys. I really am trying to just remember where I was and what I was doing, because the last 2 weeks have been such a massive shift. And the new company I'm at my manager has been really fucking awesome, and I did not expect the level of support I got for being a day one employee, right? I mean, I came in, I was going through everything. Monday was going good. We had the stream. Everything was going good. And then life just fucking sucker punched me. And so I let my manager know, and she's like, take all the time you need. And I was like, there's nothing I could do. So I muddled through what I could muster the mental energy to do. And that was hard enough. Like, I just tried to, I became very task focused, where like, okay, here's a task that does not require a ton of brain power, or there's a lot of like, just let shit process. And that's the kind of stuff I knocked out. But I couldn't just sit around. I would have driven myself insane. So that was probably one of the biggest cool things, was that my new company was all like, we got your back. Like literally from day one. I told my boss, I was like, I thought I was going to come in freaking guns blazing and kicking ass and taking names and chewing bubble gum, and I was out of bubble gum, right? Just killing it. And then until I felt like life just like blindsided me, and now I'm just swinging blindly so I can stay in the fight. That's how it felt. Thankfully, I think I've got my vision back a little bit. All right, enough talking about that. Let's see what was going on last week in security. Hold on. I want to try something. Might need sparked. There we go. I was hoping deleting that sidebar would let me expand it some more, but it looks like it's set up in a flex box. Oh, we can see it a little better here. That's the secret. Keep moving forward. Yeah, exactly, man. Trust me, everybody gets hit, everybody gets knocked down, everybody gets put on their ass or put on their face. And sometimes it hurts, and it is really fucking easy to just stay there. And so if you're there for a day, that's not on you. It hurts, you're recovering. If you're there for a week, that's not on you. If you're there for, in my case, 2 weeks, you know, that's not on you. But if you're there like a year from now, that's on you. You have to find a way to keep moving, otherwise you just start degrading. You can hear APT's though. The sock is handling him. Yep, the sock has intercepted the APT. Let's take a look here, since I can't blow this up anymore. I'm going to have to talk to them about their CSS. Let's see. So iOS 18 is going to lock replaceable components of the iPhone to an iCloud account. Actually, I heard why Apple is doing this. Yeah, for this exact same reason, making the steal and part out pipeline a lot more difficult. Now, the kicker to this also is that it's going to make repair shops a lot more difficult. I'm not sure how they're going to work with this just yet. So thieves would not have would have to phish the user's phone original owner or defeat the activation lock on each component when parting out the phone. Let's see. Fake recruiter code tests target devs with malicious Python packages. Yeah, I think we talked about this one before. Another one of the North Korean threat groups here, where they're basically saying, hey, you know, you want to apply for this really badass looking job where we're going to pay you $1 gazillion? Yeah, we want you to do a code test. By the way, here's the code that's in there. And they put their malicious Python package in the code. They just bundle it with the code they're sending the user. Again, read the code. So, bug left some Windows PCs dangerously unpatched. Oh yeah, this was hilarious. Basically, the build version of ours crossed a threshold and triggered a code defect. And so it had to do with some basically semantic versioning for Windows. And it caused some system to not realize that they didn't have a patch. That was pretty funny. Dude, MasterCard bought Recorded Futures? Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about a massive financial institution owning security firms. Anyway. So K1 acquires MariaDB. Let's see. Docker raises price up to 80% and more. You are using Podman or OrbStack anyway, right? Yeah, exactly. OrbStack, by the way, if you're on Mac, is phenomenal. I've used it. It does one really great feature unless you do host-based networking. And with host-based networking, when you spin up a Docker container, typically you have to have a port on the operating system's network stack mapped to a port in the Docker container's network stack. And that was the default for Mac and Windows, but not for Linux. Linux, you had something called host-based, where basically the container just used the network stack from the operating system. It didn't have a separate network stack. And so I've been a big fan of OrbStack just because of that. Plus, it had better performance whenever you're doing stuff on Mac, particularly on the M1s. Hey, Lappin. Dude, it's getting better. It's improving. There's still a lot of stuff to sort out, unfortunately. So, today I spent the whole day with my parents. I was helping them out and doing stuff around the house, running errands for them. So, let's see. Notice of recent security incidents. Been a while, Fortinet. Welcome back. Okay, I'll check this one out. Let's see. Protecting the security of our customers, safeguarding is yada yada. So an individual gained unauthorized access to a limited number of files stored in on Fortinet's instance of a third-party cloud-based shared file drive, which included limited data released to a small number, less than 0.3% of Fortinet customers. Hey Dante, dude, thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate it. If you got stuff to do, you got stuff to do. But thanks for stopping by, brother. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'm trying to get the regular stream schedule going again. If there is a cancellation, and I'll put up a note on Discord. All right. So to be clear, to date, there's no indication this incident has resulted in malicious activity affecting any customers. Fortinet's operations, product, services have not been impacted, and see no evidence of additional access to other Fortinet resources. Okay, well, that was underwhelming. Hope something. Well, I wouldn't say I'm hoping for something more juicy, but they made it sound juicy. Former CIA officer sentenced to 10 years in prison for conspiracy to commit espionage. Dude, 71 years old. Damn. Hold on. So what was the espionage here? Alexander Yukchingma, 71, of Honolulu, a former CIA officer, was sentenced today to conspiring to gather and deliver national defense information to the PRC, People's Republic of China. Ma was arrested in August 2020 after admitting to an undercover FBI agent that he had facilitated the provision of classified information to intelligence officers employed by the PRC. Oh, God. Oh. That's such a wild thing to do, because you gotta think, you're 71, you've been in the US for a long time. Anyway, so Ma worked for the CIA from 82 to 89. His blood relative identified as co-conspirators 1 and co-conspirator 1 in court documents, or CC1. Who's deceased also worked for the CIA from 67 to 83. So both men held top secret security clearance that granted them access to sensitive and classified information. So Ma admitted in the plea agreement on March 2001, over a decade after resigning from the CIA, Ma was contacted by the Shanghai State Security Bureau intelligence officers, who asked Ma to arrange a meeting between CC1 and SSB. Which sounds kind of weird, though, because they're saying that this guy, Ma, he left in 89. Co-conspirator, unnamed co-conspirator 1 left in 83. So why are they contacting him in 2001? It's kind of weird. So while this is interesting, I'd like, it doesn't mention if it's anything like technology related. Let's see. So under the terms of the plea agreement, Ma must cooperate with the United States for the rest of his life, including by submitting to debriefings by U.S. government agencies at the sentencing hearing. Government counsel told the court that Ma had been cooperative and has taken part. Well, yeah, dude, you're not gonna like be resistive if you're 71 years old. Sentenced to 10 years in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. Of course, they're not going to say what kind of sensitive information he released, but I was hoping there's a little bit more about that. Anyway. Hey guys, let's take a quick break because I can hear APT being, especially A right now, and I'm going to go check on him real quick. So we'll do a 3-minute ad break real fast. We'll knock that out. We'll be good for an hour. So go grab a drink, hit the bathroom, get a snack, and we'll be right back.
I can't understand what people are saying. 어느 장단을 맞춰야 될지 한 발자국되면 한 발자국까지는 shadow. 잠에서 눈을 뜬 여긴 또 어디 아침 서울 또 뉴욕 or Paris 일어난 이후 처음이는 뭐 Look at my feet down 나감은 getting down 흔들리는 건 이놈인가 아니면 내 작은 발끝인가 이 차를 리었잖아 이 차를 리었잖아 그래도 I know 서쪽에 I flow 차가운 바람과 함께 날아 Hey na 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 미치지 않으려면 미쳐야 해 Hey na 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 나를 닫은 너의 뒤쪽 세상에 Hey na 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 Can't hold me down cause you know I'm a fighter 제발로 들어온 아름다운 감동 Find me and I'm gonna leave it 가져와 bring the pain oh yeah All the time I bring
Alright, I'm back. Boy. Boy, tries my patience. Not really. He just... I think his stomach's not hurt. Or it's not feeling good. There we go. Let's see here. So what else do we got? We already talked about the convicted CIA agent. I think we talked about that right now. CloudGoat official walkthrough series, Glue Privesk. There isn't a ton of cloud-based offensive resources out there. This is a great practical walkthrough. I'd be curious about this. What is it in? Oh, this is from Rhino Security Labs, yeah. CloudGoat's a Rhino Security Lab tool for deploying the vulnerable by design AWS infrastructure. Alright, I'm going to check on this one later, because AWS isn't my focus at the moment. I really want to do with some Azure stuff. But actually, I probably should... I need to start digging into more AWS, because I have an AWS pen test coming up. So, I do need to go dig more into that. But I'm going to put it on hold for right now. Defend against vampires with 10 gigabit network encryption. I think we talked about that one. Let's see. Alka-Wasm challenge write-up. Poning an in-browser Lua interpreter. Oh, neat. What else we got here? Living off the land GPO style. Well, actually, this would be kind of handy because this is a very cool red team technique that a lot of folks tend to overlook a little bit, which is abusing... I need to talk to you folks about your CSS, because this is ridiculous. Let's see. So the ability to edit GPO from non-domain joined computers using native policy. Oh wait, I think we read through this one already. Am I in the past? I mean, I know for a fact we read through this one. Yeah, because he had to do the injection. That's right. I remember this one. Am I in the old stuff now? Oh, let's go back. Alright, so that was last week. Let's get up to current week here. Spectre Bash 2024. Dare to join the Ultimate Spectre Ops experience from October 7th to 10th in Denver. I'm actually going to be at this, so if anybody's going to be there, let me know, and we can meet up, have dinner or something. Ooh, meet Dave. Discord's new end-to-end encryption for audio and video. CSS isn't real, it can't hurt you. The training there is so expensive. Yeah, I actually don't know how much the trainings are. But if you want to go to Spectre Bash, you can save 25% off a ticket using the LWIS blog, or code. I'm curious about this, though. Let's see something. Spectre Bash, so training, evening sessions, and more with Halloween twist. I'm curious. Let me see how much the training actually is. So what do they got? They have adversary tactics. It's kind of cutting off here. I think this is identity-oriented tradecraft. I think that's this one. Identity-driven offensive tradecraft, yeah. And what else do we have? Oh wait, here's the trainings list right here. So we got Red Team Ops, Identity-Driven Offensive Tradecraft, and Tradecraft Analysis and Detection, and then Azure Security Fundamentals. Sweet. Lived in Denver for 8 years and I miss it. Well, dude, it's been probably 20 years since I've been to Denver. So it'll be interesting to go back, because actually, it was probably longer than 20 years ago, because I think I was a child last time I went to Denver. So, yeah, so there we go, guys. If you want to save 25% on those... In fact, I kind of want to tweet that out, but... Maybe give the Bad Sector guys a little bit of boost there. I'll think about it. But yeah, so if you want to look at that, maybe you've got some budget. It's coming up real quick, right? It's coming up next week. Or a week from Monday. But there's a 25% off coupon code. Let's see. People's Republic of China linked actor compromised routers and IoT devices for botnet operations. On brand. D-Link Wi-Fi router hidden functionality. At what point does hidden functionality become a backdoor? Sure feels like sending specific packets is the same as triggering the backdoor. Yeah, right? Tor project responds to the recent news about de-anonymizing Tor Ricochet users. The Tor project says the attack is not possible when using modern Tor services, Vanguard Lite, and the Vanguard's add-ons. Okay. I'm curious about this, because I didn't read about this. Let's see. We're writing this blog post in response to an investigative news story looking at de-anonymization of Onion service used by a Tor user using an old version of the long-retired application Ricochet, which, by way of a targeted law enforcement attack. So we're still left with some more questions and answers, but one thing's clear. Tor users can continue to use Tor browser to access the web securely and anonymously, and the Tor's network is healthy. So note that for the great majority of users worldwide that need to be protected, their privacy, yada, yada, yada. From the limited information the Tor project has, we believe that one of the long-retired application Ricochet was fully de-anonymized through a guard discovery attack. Okay? This was possible at the time because the user was using a version of the software that neither had Vanguard Lite nor the Vanguard add-on, which were introduced to protect users from this type of attack. So this protection exists in Ricochet Refresh, a maintained fork of the long-retired project Ricochet. Oh, basically since 2022. So this guy, if this was recent, he was just running outdated software. See? Even criminals need an asset inventory and patch management. Those are the two things that's going to save your company a lot of trouble. Let's see. So Vanguard Lite released in Tor 047 protects against the possibility of combining an adversary-induced circuit creation with circuit-based covert channel to obtain malicious middle relay confirmed by the next user's guard. So once the guard is obtained, NetFlow connection times can be used to find the user of interest. In this case, the NetFlow attack could proceed quickly because the attacker was able to determine when the user was online and offline due to their Onion service descriptor being available. So combined with the low number of users on the discovered guard. Interesting. So in contrast to the CCC, the Chaos Computer Club, who provided access to the documents related to the case that was able to analyze and validate the reporter's assumptions, we were only provided a vague outline and asked broad clarifying questions that left us uncertain. Oh yeah, they're not going to give it to you. You're the criminals. So that's interesting. So after a period of attacks described to us in 2019 to 2021, our network health team has flagged thousands of bad relays with the directory authorities then voted to remove. That's cool. I didn't know that was even such a thing. Very cool. Neat. Let's see. Exposing the flaws in our phone system. SS7 attacks have been known. Yeah. And so this was really interesting because I thought a lot of these SS7 attacks... Oh, it's just a link to the YouTube video. I'll drop a link to this in the chat, but it's really cool. Essentially what happens here is there's a signaling standard for phone systems called SS7. And SS7 has a bunch of vulnerabilities to it that should be patched, and many of them are patched, but a lot of these things that I thought were guarded against apparently aren't. And they're still present and viable. So go watch the video. It actually was really neat. Not usually on brand for Veritasium. You know, that's phone hacking is not typically his jam. I don't know what got him interested in that, but all right. A bit off brand, you know, a bit outside his usual lane. An offer you can refuse. UNC 2970 backdoor deployment using a Trojanized PDF reader. So the use of a legitimate PDF reader with a DLL sideload is a clever way to deploy a backdoor. That's an interesting idea. Let's see. Zero-click calendar invite, critical zero-risk vulnerability chain in Mac OS. Hey, isn't it just like supposed to work? Right. As much as I like Macs, also the fact that their security is is perfect is far from accurate. They have decent security, and the same way the U.S. is like, don't touch my boats, Mac is very much like, don't touch my kernel. They want you out of the kernel. Let's see. AutoIt Credential Flusher, forcing users to enter credentials so they can be stolen. Ooh. So stealer malware, i.e. keyloggers, are now opening browsers in kiosk mode and navigating to Google to get the user to enter their credentials. So as most users have never seen kiosk mode, they likely don't know how to get out of it. Leaves them open to inputting their credentials. Interesting idea. Delayed import table phantom DLL opportunities. I'm free to cover that later. NTLM relaying, making the old new again. No new techniques, but a good refresher using modern tools for old attacks. Take a look at a request. Oh wait, I closed it. Shit. There we go. That's interesting. This is by Dave Kennedy, who runs Binary Defense and Trusted Sec, but he's writing it on JumpSec. Interesting. So I'm old enough to remember when it was not always possible to get domain admin with the first hour of a test via ADCS or misconfigurations. Way to say back in my day there, Dave. So at present, we're exploit for choices, yada yada. So quick wins for some assessments might be a lack of SMB signing. Again, that's a tag, that's not target, right? It's a feature. It's a feature. It's a descriptor of an issue that you can possibly use. It's not an issue in and of itself. And don't get me wrong, you should enforce SMB signing. Lack of LDAP signing or channel bindings, machine account quota greater than 0. Yeah, which is default. NTLM relaying. I'm trying to see what he's got going on here. So he's using... So he's just using netexec to kind of look through things, using NTLM Relay X. Checking for role-based constraint delegation. Oh, so apparently there's a... I know that you can't really read this. I can't really zoom in on it anymore because of CSS. Oh, there we go. All the fun stuff. Yeah. It's a resource. Actually, this is the thing I wanted to mention right here. So in XC, let's see if I can open a new tab. Zoom in on this. There we go. So netexec on the LDAP protocol has a module called LDAP checker. That's neat. That's new. Mr. Kennedy, you got to change your password. That is weak. That is ineffectual. Let's see. Again, he's using NTLM Relay X, which is kind of standard. Using responder. Using Le Petit Potam. So one of the things a lot of people forget about Petit Potam is that even though the biggest issue with it was that you used to be able to run this without authentication. That was the big killer for it. However, now the patch is a lot of times you just have to be some authenticated user. So you can a lot of times do that with just low privileged accounts. Accounts that literally have nothing to them except they exist in Active Directory. Let's see, what else do we got going on here? In this particular case, what he's doing is he's running Petit Potam to get it over into NTLM Relay X. And what it does is it uses, once it gets the relay, it uses the computer, that user's active session to go create a computer account with a random name, random password, and then it delegates rights from that computer account over to the target. So that's how you get the account takeover. Moose, what's up, man? Welcome in. Happy Saturday, dude. Just reading through a blog post that Dave Kennedy put on JumpSec. Is this his... I'm curious. This isn't his personal blog, is it? Labs.jumpsec. Like, I don't know. I'm just curious why he posted this on JumpSec as opposed to posting it, like, on the Trusted Sec blog. It just seems a little out of place for me. I don't know. I'm probably reading too much into it. It's all gibberish to me. It's going to be gibberish until like you. It's like learning a foreign language. You're eventually you're going to pick it up, and you're going to start understanding more. Yeah, here you go, Clay. Let's see. So after choosing that, we can impersonate him. Get a service ticket. Anything else he's got going on? LDAP signing, shadow credentials. So he's going to set up NTLM Relay X, tell it not to dump anything, no DA, no ACL, no validate privs, shadow creds, shadow target. Okay. So again, he's using Petit Potam to trigger that. You don't necessarily need Petit Potam. You could use some kind of poisoner to do that. Or if you can in some way trick the system to do like a UNC path to that system you've got listening, that would work also. There's lots of different ways to do those coercion attacks. So he imports it. Okay, so nothing fantabulous there, but I really think, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad article. Check out the link and definitely read through it. But I think the thing that's most interesting is that this is David Kennedy. This could be a different Dave Kennedy. But when I hear David Kennedy, I'm thinking Trusted Sec. I mean, I suppose it's not that unusual of a name combination. And usually he goes by Dave Kennedy instead of David. So maybe it is a different Dave Kennedy. Yeah, old technique, just a little bit more modern tooling play, which is really the only modern tool in there. NTLM Relay X has been around for a while, is NetExec. And one good thing to actually come out of that, you might think, hey, this is a blog of old shit, why would I read through that? I didn't know NetExec had an LDAP, basically assessment module. So that's actually really cool. Ooh, Binary Ninja plugin for fixed stomped import. So when malware stomps their own PE header, it can make it difficult to reverse engineer. But the crew at Netitude made a Binary Ninja plugin to reconstruct the import header address table to see what API calls are being made. Interesting. Let's see. Ooh. Okay, so this one this isn't the one I'm looking at. This one's a journey from pseudo IP tables to local privilege escalation. Cool. This one though, hidden in plain sight, abusing Entra ID administrative units for sticky persistence. Because this is literally part of what I just went through training for. Datadog Security Labs. And so I'm going to do my best to explain the moving pieces on this. But understand my knowledge is still very fresh and understand the various moving components. I'd say probably the biggest challenge is that not only are the components named differently, or stuff like what's used to be Azure AD, which is now Entra, versus Azure, which is actually the maintenance of your virtual infrastructure, your machines, your stuff like that. But then also where role-based access controls gets applied is different, because you can apply things in Entra, which is your identity layer, and then you can also, sometimes those don't even apply to what the sub tool that's using it. So let's say you log in using your Entra ID to get access to Azure. Azure has its own role-based access control flow that works through it. So it's a ton of stuff. But it's the reason why I want to study it some more, because I really want to hit it. Let's see. So this research was presented at Ford CloudSec Europe in September 2024. You can find the slides meow. Recording the talks is going to be available in the coming days. So key points: Entra ID administrative units allow scoped role assignment of an Entra ID role over a subset of Entra ID users, groups, and devices instead of the whole tenant. Okay. Hold on, let me check something real quick before I dig into this too much. Okay, hang on guys, one sec, be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right. And ready to the other room to go grab this. I can do this. There we go. So, because I think this is going to be helpful if I can help diagram this a wee bit. Just a wee bit. So what they're saying here is the administrative units allow scoped role assignment of an intra-ID role over a subset of intra-ID users, groups, and devices instead of the whole tenant. Damn it, administrative units was something we didn't get real deep into. Let me look at this one. Now I'm glad I decided to look at last weekend's security. Okay, yeah, so scoped roles apply to Azure. That's what this is. So, when you see the term scoped role, and this would be like in Entra up here. What that's going to tell you is that you need to go check for stuff in Azure. I'm going to try and color code this as best I can. And so remember, Entra, this is just your ID layer. This is where your identity lives and how you authenticate. Azure is actually your virtual infrastructure. So I get why they renamed Entra, formerly Azure AD, right? Azure AD in the past, because it was very confusing to think of Azure and Azure AD. And you would think that they're linked together, and they are in some way, but they're not linked as deeply as these two names would imply. They're completely different. So Entra does make sense. I just think it's a weird name, and the naming team at Microsoft needs a serious come to Jesus meeting because they suck. But I digest. Anyway, so an administrative unit allows you to take, let's see, read it again. Scoped role assignments of an intra-ID role over a subset of intra-ID users, groups, devices. Users, groups, devices instead of the whole. I'm curious what they mean by that though. So administrative units contain security-related features that can assist in hardening an intra-ID tenant. Restricted management administrative units allow only users with scoped role assignments over that specific administrative unit to modify its members. Okay? Tenant-level roles cannot modify administrative unit members. You have to have a PhD in Microsoft in naming and license understanding. But then again, the PhD would last a week because they keep moving or changing things around. Yeah, no joke. So I actually have, I was thinking about reaching out to some of my buddies at my previous job who were just giant Microsoft nerds and seeing if I could get some resources from them on understanding the moving parts. Because we did some really funky, cool stuff on manipulating, moving around. Kind of like what the equivalent would be on on-prem Active Directory, doing some of those things in Entra. Like getting access to private data, stuff like that. Resources you shouldn't have access to because you can modify either your own attributes or you can modify some group with an ownership, stuff like that. All right, hidden membership AUs hide their membership from all users unless they are a member of the AU or have a specific role assignment. Okay, so this is Hydra. Nobody knows you're in Hydra unless you are Hydra. That's what this is, a hidden membership. Azure sometimes just frustrates, but then again, most cloud stuff does. Yeah, I agree, Oni. So, all right, so nuts and bolts here. So an attacker with privileged access can use these features to maintain concealed privileges over intra-ID objects through hidden membership AUs, or lock down attacker-controlled accounts through restricted management AUs. So let's reread this again. So there's two types of administrative units that we're referencing here: restricted and hidden membership. So the restricted one allows only users with a scoped role assignment over that specific AU to modify its members. The hidden one says hides membership from all users unless they are in that administrative unit as well. So this is like secret society, and this is like walled garden. That's what these are. Yeah, that's pretty badass. Now I'm gonna have to go message the instructor and ask him like, "Hey, what do you know about this?" God, I hope I can get a Azure tenant set up soon. So an attacker with privileged access can use these features to maintain concealed privileges over Entra ID objects through hidden membership AUs, or lock down attacker-controlled accounts through restricted management AUs. Yeah. Which is funny because I wonder, like, some of the things you could probably get access to is, like, the particular service principal name. So one of the cool things that was covered in the course was understanding how auth flows work. That's the wrong button. Here we go. And, like, for example, if you want to have access to an application, right? An application in that's registered in, I guess in Entra. I'm not sure. I really want to go dig into it so we can figure this out. But anyway, applications actually don't authenticate themselves with Entra. They have an SPN, a service principal name. And this is actually the authenticating object right here. So if you have access to the SPN, you pretty much have access to the application, if I understand it correctly. It was a very intense 3-day training. So that would be something for really sneaky persistence, because you're talking about if you're in this membership and you've got access to control over, let's say, certain SPNs or other items like that, then you can come in and just set it up and go. I'm not sure if that was supposed to be chess or cheese, Clay. Bless. Oh, man. Can't speak. This is really freaking cool. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna send that out in chat. And actually, I'm gonna go drop this one in Discord because this is pretty damn cool. Wait, I don't have a cloud computing section in the Discord? We have game hacking, malware, web apps, Windows, social engineering, embedded systems, containers, C#, car hacking, binary. Really? All right, I'm gonna make that quick. Cloud hacks. Great channel. I'm gonna drop that in there for now, and then I'll dress up the channel later. So we don't believe these techniques represent a vulnerability or misconfiguration in Entra or the AU feature, as it constitutes a by design use of Entra IDs. We've implemented support for emulating these attacks in Stratus Red Team. What is Stratus Red Team? Atomic Red Team for the cloud, allowing to emulate offensive attack techniques in a granular and self-contained manner. Cool. Okay, hang on. Gotta save that one now. I am logged in, you bastard. Bastard. Hang on. I'll save it in my browser. Let's see. Great list. Let's call this cloud attacks. I'll call it Azure Cloud. Azure Cloud Tools. There we go. Save that one. Did it save? Yes, it did. All right, cool. So now, if you're looking at the starred list over on the BlazeBits GitHub, it'll be in there. That'd be fun to see, especially once I get the developer instance. So, let's see. So during recent research into Microsoft Entra ID, the concept of administrative units caught our attention as a helpful feature that may also have unexpected security implications. So AUs allow for scoped role assignment with Entra ID. It's going to cover the security considerations you may want to take related to potential AU misuse in your tenant. So different AU features can present opportunities for privileged persistence by an attacker. So restricted AUs exist to protect sensitive accounts, but they can also be used to make an attacker-controlled account difficult to remediate. Hidden membership AUs allow for the concealment of membership of sensitive AUs. They can also be used to conceal the scope of assignment permissions from a reviewing security analyst. These conditions are reversible by a global administrator. Yeah, makes sense. But again, you have to know it's there for the global administrator to know to take action. That's the kicker. So they'll cover the technical background needed to understand the AUs, how they can be used and abused, and details of AU restructuring. Very cool. Oh, here we go. Cool. They kind of talk about it a little bit here. So how do intra-ID administrative units work? So admin units restrict permissions in a role to any portion of an organization that you define. So expanding this, AUs allow assignment of intra-ID roles like authentication administrator or user administrator across specific tenant users, devices, groups. This allows permissions assignments analogous to the OUs in Active Directory. So using an administrative unit, an intra role, intra role assignment is similar to providing a scope of subscriptions for the role assignments in Azure RBAC. Oh, okay. And again, this is what I was talking about. So subscriptions is a concept completely disconnected from intra. It's only something that exists inside of Azure. So a lot of times, like when we were looking at the vulnerable environment, we're having to decide, okay, hey, is this an issue? Like what kind of stuff can this guy access? Well, the tooling that we're looking at, which is the road tools from DarkGen, it would say, oh yeah, here's all the stuff from intra, but then we'd have to actually go and start doing data collection over on the Azure side because the two are separated now. I mean, they were separated before, but it's just more apparent with the naming change. Let's see. Intra-ID rules refer to rules assigned to manage objects and settings inside of an intra-ID tenant. Azure RBAC rules refer to roles assigned to manage Azure resources like compute, storage, and subscriptions. So a user plus a subscription plus an RBAC role is an Azure RBAC role assignment. A user plus an administrative unit plus some intra-ID role is a scoped intra role assignment. All right. And dude, trust me, if you're getting lost in the terminology, yeah, I don't know why this is so much more difficult to kind of grasp than say like Active Directory, but man, it could be a beatdown. This is what makes AU so helpful. You can use administrative units to take a least privilege approach to specify which users and intra roles the assignment applies to, limiting the blast radius of a possible mistake or malicious action without scoping a role via administrative units. Yeah, and this is actually a really cool idea because instead of putting in a rule that says, hey, everybody on the sales team should have access to this, you could do that assignment in the administrative unit, and that administrative unit can just contain the salespeople, right? And so you know that, like they were saying, your blast radius of that configuration change is going to be isolated to the members of the administrative unit instead of everybody on the tenant. All right, very cool. Let's see. So you can create it using the handy little Azure CLI. So additional administrative unit properties. So in addition to enabling scoped ID permission assignments, administrative units can be created with the restricted management and hidden management. Okay, so these aren't different types. These are attributes of the administrative unit. I see. Makes more sense now. I thought these were distinct types of administrative units. No, they're feature flags of the AU. Let's see. So these settings can be configured during AU creation. Let's see. Okay, so this is actually in preview as of September 2024. It was announced June 23 to provide extra protection for sensitive accounts. A user is allowed only to, or the administrative unit allows only specified administrators with scoped role assignments over that AU to take action on this group of users. Okay, that's the restricted management. So once the restricted AU has been created, any user, including a global administrator, without a scoped role assignment for this AU will see the following message when they try to modify something. The member is a member of restricted management unit, and you can't do that. Now, of course, global administrator has other means to go through and rectify that. If they just try to do it directly, that's what they're saying here. Also additionally attempts to reset the user's passive or fail. So I want to say I ran into something like this, but I don't think so. And the reason is because I was on a social engineering engagement, and we called the help desk. We tried to get an MFA reset for a user. And The help desk was all about it, but they couldn't do it. And I think this is why. It sounds like it might have been this feature. They never got back to me to tell me what control they had in place that blocked that. I don't even know if they knew. But this sounds like that could have fit that bill. Because if the help desk was outside that restricted management AU, that might have made sense. Let's see. All right, so hidden membership. Hidden membership AUs conceal their membership from all users except those also inside of the AU. So like I said, secret society. Let's see. Add users with... okay. Hold on. It conceals the membership from all users except those inside the AU and users with certain administrative roles. So the authentication administrator, yeah. Global administrator, global reader, group administrator, help desk admin, privilege authentication administrator, SharePoint administrator, teams and users. So, okay. So additional details of the methodology we use are listed in the appendix. So a privilege admin plus member can view membership. All other users and roles cannot. Let's see here. Hidden membership parameter is not displayed as an option when creating AUs in the Entra ID portal, but it can be provided in the visibility parameter, yada, yada, yada. All right, abuse, here we go. All about the abuse. All right, so now that we looked at what AUs are and walked through some of the specific features that are relevant to AU security, we'll shift the scenario to where an attacker with privileged access to an Entra ID tenant may want to protect an additional backdoor account. Let's see. This could come in useful when their current privilege foothold is discovered, or it could allow them to spread out suspicious operations across a secondary account. Yeah. Let's see. So in order to execute this type of AU abuse, we'll be discussing an attacker needs to have global administrator or privileged role administrator. Again, this is where the naming convention gets funky, because the role is actually called privileged role administrator. Or there's a group of them called privileged role administrator. So this level of access is challenging prerequisite. Attackers leveraging IDP platforms for privilege persistence may have arisen in recent years, looking at persistence in cloud and hybrid environments. Some examples of this on Entra ID are golden SAML and silver SAML attacks. Let's see. And recent documentation of misconfiguring federated credentials. Dark Jam! He was a really chill dude. He was super nice to talk to. Total introvert, except when he was around other nerds, but that's fine. Privilege persistent techniques can be valuable. Let's see. All right, scenario 1, sticky backdoor count through a restricted AU. So to recap, users in restricted AUs are protected from tenant-wide administration making modifications to them. Only administrators assigned permissions over that restricted AU can use their assigned permissions over the users in it. So because of this, it allows an attacker to create a restricted management AU, then make a backdoor account under their control, a member of the AU. So they basically create a sacrificial lamb, or they have, let's say, privileged access, right? They go through and they make an AU that has the restricted property. They create a new account, or they move some other account they've compromised. Well, probably a bad idea to move some other account, but better scenario, create a new account in there that you would authenticate against and put it in there. And then you've got yourself a nice little backdoor account. Let's see. So to modify the account, a global administrator would first need to understand why the backdoor user cannot be removed or modified, which could be troublesome for a lot of administrators. Like if they don't understand this feature, remove the backdoor user from the administrative unit and then disable or remove the user. So they've got to understand, again, this is the key here. They have to understand the problem first. So setup, attacker creates the restricted AU, adds a backdoor user to the restricted AU. So the attacker logs in to the backdoor user and performs some action on an objective. Admin, by default, cannot disable that backdoor user until they remove them from the AU. Like I said, so they can't do it directly, but they can do it indirectly. Look at this. So they got a link to something. Stratus Red Team. Create sticky backdoor user through restricted management. Ooh, neat. This is a cool reference. That's AWS, that's EKS, GCP, which no one even uses. And see, even in here, they've got Azure and Intra ID separated out. Interesting. Execute commands on a virtual machine using a custom script extension. Cool. This is pretty neat. I'm going to drop this over in the cloud channel as well. Okay, so let's take a look at this real quick. So the result of this misconfiguration is a restricted management AU with a single backdoor account member after we go through and... Okay, so here in the picture, zoom in on it. So they're running the Stratus tool, they detonate the Intra ID persistence restricted AU. It goes through and does some auto magical, probably proxy calls. And then you got it set up. That's pretty cool. I need to go take a look at that tool. So the result of the configuration is the restricted AU with a single backdoor account called Stratus backdoor user 6 SB6K. The user will also be able to unable to perform reset password actions. Yada yada yada. Oh, cool. They even looks like they even have revert options in here. Nice. So due to a delay enforced by Entra ID, you'll need to wait 5 minutes before running the cleanup. All right, so let's look at scenario 2. Covert role assignment through a hidden membership AU. All right, so here's the setup. The attacker creates a hidden administrative unit, adds target users to the hidden AU, grants backdoor user the role of privilege auth admin over the hidden AU. Nice. So the impact here is that the attacker can log in to the backdoor user, updates passwords, resets MFA, and performs actions on the objective. And security analysts, they can't view the AU members. Very cool. Love it. Love it. I cannot wait to get a dev instance so I can test this stuff out. So the coup de grace here, sticky backdoor account with concealed permissions. So you create a restricted AU, you add a backdoor account to the AU, and then the protected backdoor account. And you also create a hidden AU, add the administrators to the AU, assign privileged authentication administration over the AU, and then you get a hidden administrative persistence. Sweet. All right, that's pretty legit. I don't think I'm going to read the rest of this because it's going to get deep into the weeds. And I barely understand what's going on. And I just went through a 3-day training with it because there's so many moving parts. But that's fucking legit. I love that. Love it. That's cool. Yeah, I used to like... I don't know, I used to have like mixed emotions about Azure and Intra. And I still don't really like them, but I also don't hate them. That makes sense. Stuff's getting all jacked up here. Let's see. Shellcode. Good primer on Windows ARM64 shellcode. Skeleton cookie. Breaking into safeguard with the CVE. Ooh, okay. So in this post, we crack open an authentication bypass vulnerability we discovered in the safeguard for a privileged password product. So this vulnerability was assigned to CVE, internally known as Skeleton Cookie. We demonstrate how this vulnerability can be exploited to gain full administrative access on the virtual appliance. Nice. Keep me very entertained as I write a report. Dude, that's what I shoot for, man. Let's see. Actually, I'm curious about this. The term skeleton cookie sounds pretty awesome. That was 100% AI generated, but not bad. I like the picture. Not bad. Zoom in. There we go. To recover our process for identifying the skeleton cookie issue, delve into Microsoft DPAPI internals and provide some tools to assist in further DPAPI research. Okay. Let's take a look at this. So Safeguard for Privileged Passwords is a PAM, Privileged Access Management solution, made by One Identity, a subsidiary of Quest, blah, blah, blah. All right, vulnerability details. You can find more details and mitigations on the CVE advisory. Go to the CVE. Alright, so Safeguard for Privileged Passwords, SPP, exposes a web interface with a login form on TCP port 443, as shown in the following screenshot. Okay, so you're logging into a local loopback. So submitting a valid username and password results in the application returning a session cookie named STS Identity 0 with some base 64 stuff in it. So the code related to the decryption and verification of the session cookie is a .NET executable. Ooh, that's reverse engineered to help. I get why you do a .NET executable, but at the same time. So the try decrypt cookie function contained the following code indicating that the cookies were encrypted with the DPAPI key of the account used to start the service. So setting a breakpoint allowed the structure to decrypt cookie to be examined. So it looks like... Wait, that's it? So the graphic below shows the various fields that make up the decrypted cookie value, none of which contain information that cannot be reasonably derived. You got a provider ID, username, auth stage, the login type, like password, the timestamp for when it was issued, and the timestamp until it's no longer valid. So examining the arguments passed, revealed no additional entropy was used. Yeah, that was one of the things here. It's like, hey, this is pretty slim, you know? But let's take a look at it. So checking the DPAPI keys for the RSTS service user on the trial version of the virtual appliance showed a pre-existing key as well as one that was generated following the per installation setup process. Okay. So for the assessed trial version, which at the time of release was a bit older, encrypting the cookie using the pre-existing key was sufficient to cause the try decrypt cookie function to decrypt a valid cookie value. However, it appeared that this pre-existing key varied across release versions and the virtualization platform. So therefore, to build a more comprehensive exploit that worked on multiple versions of the platform, we've got to dig deeper into the DPAPI internals. So they go on to DPAPI side quest. Let's see. So as our try decrypt cookie code specifies the current user value for the scope, it would seem to suggest that only the current user could decrypt the data, i.e. the account for the RSTS service it's running under. Or at least that specifying either value that would have an effect whatsoever. However, this does not quite line up with our understanding of the API. There's an unprotect function going on here. Hey, Wolf, what's up, man? Happy Saturday. Welcome in. I'll tell you what, hang on one sec, guys. I gotta grab my water. I'm dying because I've been talking a lot. One sec, be right back. Alright, back. And of course, my water was almost empty, and I already drank it on the way back to the desk. Let's see. So DPAPI is doing its DPAPiness self. I don't want to go dig too deep into those weeds right now. Okay, so now we know that we can specify any master key GUID in the DPAPI blob that we can force the protection scope to the local machine by setting a certain flag in the blob. This opens up the possibility to use additional master keys, which might be the same on multiple versions. Okay. Yeah, reminds me I need to fill up my water. Yes, Wolf, hydrate. I was getting onto my son because he hadn't drank any water today. So when decrypting data protected with the local machine scope, the following directory is used to select the master key. And so looking at the virtual machine disk image, we found additional keys in this directory, which dated back to 2019. So this key was found to be present on all vulnerable versions of the appliance for VMware and Hyper-V. So to test this theory, a valid cookie string was encrypted using the AA14E DPAPI master key. So where is that? Yeah, that's the one that goes all the way back to 2019, right here. Oop. So in order to specify the desired master GUID protection scope, we modified the Sharp DPAPI tool to now include a protect action. Okay. So essentially, this is really cool, but it looks like what they found out is they found out that the cookie had no kind of entropy to it, and then they found out that they were using hard-coded, basically using hard-coded old keys. Smooth. So to determine if your instance is vulnerable to the CVE, you can use the following script. So this script sends a cookie with an invalid username in the cookie. If the server is vulnerable, it will return a JWT in the response that contains the same invalid username, indicating the server is vulnerable. RIP. What does it do here? Let's see. So the response is it makes a curl request to a local instance that's a blank CSRF token, and it sets that STS identity 0 value to this base64 blob here. And so this should contain an invalid user, right? So then they're going to just check the response, see if it has an access token equal, tell you if it's okay. So once an attacker has gained an authenticated administrative session on the appliance, they can carry out the action with a legitimate administrator. That's funny. I had a buddy that found something similar to that where there was a... God, what was it? It was a smart lock. That's what it was. No, correction. It wasn't a smart lock itself. It was a controller for a smart lock, like a Zigbee hub or something. And it had hard-coded SSH keys from the factory. The same SSH key across all of them. So, you had to report that. Using YouTube to steal your files. A one-click clickjacking attack that chains a Google Slides YouTube embed path traversal to 3 separate redirects to gain editor access on Drive folders. Damn. Alright, good about this. Let's see. So my security research, I haven't come across weird quirks and behaviors that are particularly useful. Cat video. So who doesn't love a cat video? Google Slides has a neat feature to let you add a YouTube video to the presentation. It appears as an iframe, does all this cool stuff, embeds it. So we now have a YouTube homepage within the Slides iframe. YouTube, like most modern web apps, disallows framing most of the pages to prevent clickjacking attacks, of course. The embed page is the exception. Yeah. So part 2, following redirects. So open redirects are a genre of vulnerabilities that can redirect to any other page. For example, visiting some Google URL will take you to their house. They're rarely considered to be real vulnerabilities because their impact's very limited, but you'll just be redirected from one page to another. So as we're stuck in an iframe on youtube.com, an open redirect would be pretty lovely. Being able to navigate the Slides iframe to any other website of our choosing would let us do some very interesting stuff. So the redirect works for now, but you'll notice that it has a redirect token parameter. This parameter is some sort of token for redirects that unique to a session. So if someone opened the same link, they'd get this. So the redirects. Okay. So the /signin redirect wasn't the only one I found. There was another one present with a different YouTube subdomain for accounts.youtube.com. Actually, I know about this one because I just had to visit it to go log out some old devices. This one seems to be for Google accounts. So for example, if you log into google.ee, you'd get a redirect through accounts.google.com. Let's see. So if we could redirect our iframe to docs.google.com, it'd open the possibilities. So Google Docs is built in the same way. X iframe. Okay, so going through link after link, I eventually stumbled upon this URL. docs.google.com, file ID, ID edit. So this page lets us preview and perform actions such as sharing on a Google Drive file. Getting that file ID might be difficult, but okay. And unlike other links I found earlier, it says that it stays on docs.google.com domain instead of redirecting to Drive. Okay. You can even open up your Drive's root folder with it. Interesting. So it looks like you might be able to redirect to... All right, so can we really trick someone into performing all those actions? Maybe if we try hard enough, but even with our iframe and clickjacking ability, isn't going to take a lot of convincing for someone to do that. I don't think VRP panel be very impressed with this much reliance on social engineering. So there's a feature in Drive that lets you request access to other people's documents. Doing so sends out an email with a cool little button to immediately manage the permissions. Okay, so he's just going to use the redirect to hit that button. I think. So the current state, the page requires us to make 2 clicks to complete the attack. I pulled out DevTools to begin digging through the JavaScript on the page and found the query parameters for handling it. So as a simple test, I started using some parameter. So he's going through like 3 redirects. First, we take cool little doc invite URL, then we put it inside accounts youtube.com redirect. Then we put that into youtube.com sign-in redirect, and finally we turn into a path traverse video ID we can embed into our slides. Oh, that's funny. So put it simply, you're trying to go to accountsyoutube.com, and you get a 403 because it's cross-site. However, if you go to accountsyoutube.com to docs/Google, you get the same origin, then you can go to the file ID edit. That's funny. All right, I'm not going to read any more on that, but that was pretty damn funny. And it's so funny to me because a lot of companies don't consider open redirects to be an issue, even though that's one of the primary phishing methods a lot of people use. Like, I used to have a collection of them, and it was ones on like Adobe, Google, DocuSign. They had open redirects that you could use, and those always were coming through in phishing emails. So I would have people at my company, my last company, forward those phishing emails to me, and I would just be I would reverse engineer out the redirect, which isn't very hard, and then I would just make a note of it, like, okay, cool, there's a redirect to use for phishing right there, bam. What is this? Exploiting an open source app your client is running for initial access. Oh, that's a red team doing for real red team versus a pen test. Okay, what do you got going on here? So the following blog post explains how during red team engagement we were able to identify several vulnerabilities, including a remote code execution, latest version of Camillo. Camillo is an open source e-learning platform used by educators all around the world to digitize and formalize their course content. Let's see. So it's a CMS developed in PHP, making it a particularly interesting target for us. Knowing several vulnerabilities were identified in 2023 by some fellow researchers, we were confident that our chances of finding a vulnerability would allow us to obtain initial access. Okay, cool. I like the idea, but this is really just, hey, we found an exploit in this thing and use it as initial access. I mean, the exploit to me is more interesting, but good for them. Let's see. Anything on tools and exploits? GoWitness 3. Oh wait, they've updated GoWitness? Oh yeah, this was updated a couple weeks ago. Yeah. This looks so much better than what it used to be. It looks like they overhauled the UI. Because I had thought about doing it, I just never got the time to get it. Because the UI was atrocious. I had one pen test where I had so many, like this right here used to be in the middle of the screen, and I had so many screenshots that it would just extend off the screen. And in fact, I was dealing with it so one time, and the user interface was so bad, I ended up just going into the SQLite database and pulling my own stuff out of it. I forgot about that. So yeah, so if you use GoWitness, they just had a big update. Go check that out. Let's see, Cloud Shovel, a tool for scanning public or private AWS machine images for sensitive files. Sweet. Tiny little horizontal scroll bar. Yeah, exactly, Wolf. Let's see. Undocumented AWS API hunter. Okay. This is cool. Nixon Vote. Rust CLI tool for running .NET assemblies, PowerShell, and Beacon object files with patchless AMSI and ETW bypassing. Ooh, nice. Let's see. WinACL. Go library for working with Windows access control lists, security descriptors, and more. C2 vulnerabilities. So a few CVEs for the open source C2 frameworks. So found some for Covenant, Havoc, Ninja, Shadow, and Sliver. Nice. Let's see. BYOS. Oh, bring your own script interpreter. Yeah, that's what this is. Evading EDRs the simple way by not touching any of the APIs they hook. Go witness files that have HTTP Pro list. Go with server tech. Yeah, there you go. So bring your own script interpreter. Every scripting interpreter is signed by its creator, with each certificate being valid. You know what? I'm gonna throw this over on the Red Team Discord. Or not Red Team Discord, but the Red Team Tactics. Because I just had a buddy asking about that. He had a request for that on something he was doing, so I want to send that to him later. A highly signatured PHP script from this repository not only ran on system monitoring by CrowdStrike and Trellix, but also established an external connection without triggering any EDR detections. So EDRs typically overlook script files, focusing instead on binaries for implanting. That's very interesting because I've had plenty of EDRs nuke my stuff off of those systems. Like, anytime I'd clone down SecList, it would want to nuke it a large portion of that off the system. So what this script does, so this PowerShell script achieves EDR AV evasion through 4 simple steps technique. So it fetches PHP archive for Windows and extracts it into a new directory named PHP in ctemp. The script then proceeds to acquire the implant PHP script or shell, saving them into ctemp. Following this, it executes the implant or shell utilizing the whitelisted PHP binary, which exempts the binary from most restrictions in place that would prevent the binary. Oh, that's sweet. Yes, I need to go tinker with that too now. I'm glad it came out of this. Let's see. Any other neat little miscellaneous tool? So, file unpumper. So a tool used to trim useless things from a PE, such as the things that file pumper would add. So I think he's referring to whenever attackers want to like basically puff up a binary, they want to pad it so that way ADR ignores it, because a lot of times they have a limit of 25, sometimes as high as 100 megs where they ignore it. So this is a command line utility designed to clean up and analyze PE files. It provides a range of features to help developers and security professionals work with PE files more effectively. So fixing the header, doing resource extraction, metadata analysis, file cleaning. Core functionality is to remove any pumped or padded data from a PE file, resulting in a clean version of the executable. This can aid in malware analysis, reverse engineering, or simply reducing file size. Yeah, because you got to think, if you can work with a smaller file, your tool set's just going to be happier. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, where's the opposite? Where's file pumper? I want the file pumper. Now, hold on. Why was this one forked? This one's different. This is the fork Freedom code. This one's Rust bait. Hold on, what did this guy say? That's it. He just said, "Hey, you want to contribute? Fork it." But he's still using Rust. Okay, that's interesting. Get the bloat out. Fuff? Unleashed Fuff? Okay. Now I'm very curious. Custom FluffFork relies on modified net HTTP and net URL libraries to avoid strict header and URL parsing. Okay. Legit user agents instead of Fuff's default. But it's faster U-Fool one. Mildly interesting. Polydrop a BYSO rapid deployment payload kit. Ooh, cool. Yeah, we'll look at this one after the nerds. After the ads finish up. Because they're running right now. But this is actually pretty cool, because this is very good timing, because I just had a client ask about this. Oh, not ask me, ask a colleague. Hang on, let me do something fast. Well, the ads are running. If I can find it. I can go send him those things. I'll send those to him here. I don't want to forget. This really is an interesting. Of course, it's written in Rust. All right, there we go. Ads are done. Sweet. All right, so this is another tool from malware support group called Polydrop. And it's fairly new. It's from last month. Pretty darn new. Let's see. Leverages 13 scripting languages to perform the above attack. That's cool. Tickle, PHP, Crystal, Julia, Golang. Golang really a scripting language? Really? Let's see. Oh, sorry. The following languages are wholly ignored by AV vendors, including MS Defender. I don't know about this Golang one, because when we wrote Deimos in Golang, it ate it a lot. Same for VLang, yeah. I think this might be a little bit of a misleading statement. Still cool, even if if just half the functionality is in here. But yeah, Golang, it's not ignored by AV vendors. I can guarantee you, because Deimos payloads would get flagged by Defender. VLang I'm not familiar with, but Oni is saying that it's not really a scripting language either. But I mean, obviously, Python, Node.js, PHP, all of these are very interesting things. Any language could be a scripting language, really, just a good one. Yeah. So currently undetectable by most mainstream endpoint detection and response vendors. Total number of vendors that are unable to scan or process just a PHP file type is 14, listed below. Total number of vendors unable to accurately identify malicious PHP scripts for 54 of these are listed below. Okay, good. All right, cool. Maybe we'll see if we can mess with that one. That might be a fun one to test out over in the Code Lab. Oh, this is pretty cool. Damn Vulnerable Drone. It's an intentionally vulnerable drone hacking simulator based on the popular ArduPilot or Mavlink architecture, providing a realistic environment for hands-on drone hacking. Nice. I'm going to copy that one over to the embedded system. That's pretty cool. Yeah, let's take a look at that one real fast. Do they have any cool videos or screenshots? I do like the art. I don't know if this even has any audio to it. Let's watch it real fast. let's see. So he's doing initial boot. Start arm and take off. I like how there's a little drone hacker computer in there. Looks like it's going through, I guess, some kind of warm-up process. There we go. Drone takes off. I like the simulation because you even see the drone kind of like wobbling, but kind of maintaining its spot. So it starts an emergency RTO. Okay. Is there anything more to the video, or is it just demonstrating the actual simulator itself? Oh, that's cool. Hold on. If you look up here, they've got attack scenarios like listed right here. That's pretty sick. Did you go through the post-flight analysis? No, that's it. Okay. Oh, wait. I didn't mean to close that. So while that was neat, got a neat little architecture here. I'll tell you all the funniest thing. Hold on. I gotta look up. Go back over here. So here in Mythic, I was watching another interview with Cody from it, and dang it, where is it? Here you go, Mythic documentation. I gotta show you all this. So right here, I cannot remember the fella's name. Another security, YouTuber, and he was looking at this and he goes, yeah, he called this the anti-script kidding armor, because as soon as a script kiddie sees this, they're like, nope, I'm out. It's just like, done. That's too complex. I was like, come on, it's not that complex, is it? I have no idea what you just said. Looks like alphabet soup. But when I saw this diagram, it reminded me of that one. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to dig any more to that one right there. I'm doing like 4 things at the same time. Understand, man. All right. Actually, I just remember something I did need to do. Let's see. I wonder if this browser got logged out. It did. Damn it. Hang on one sec, guys. Let me go into OPSEC mode and sign this browser back in. I gotta go find it. Trying to learn Zap right now too. Eh.
I'm on the edge of a cliff where the lights are adrift.
I messed with Zap like one time back in the day, and I've not messed with it again. Okay. Got set up. Because I remember there was something I forgot to do, which was we were working on doing a Hack the Box testing for Hack the Box try hack me, where you'd have a Windows and a Kali attack box that you could use if you wanted to go get into like Hack the Box. So you could host it on your Lewis server, and you'd have basically a nice persistence mechanism. So I think I wrote those locally, I don't, but I definitely didn't push them because it would have shown up in here. And I don't remember what the state was of it, so I think that's probably what we'll do to finish off the night here. Yeah, it looks like I did write a lot to it. What's funny is I put these in the complete wrong branch. I just realized. Hold on, let me look at something. Did I? Nope, I didn't. Oh, thanks, Wolf. Yeah, this is a pretty fun one. Find X. There it is. You're technically correct. The best kind of correct. Alright, so no, this code is definitely not ready to push because there's a lot of shit just waiting to be committed. So we were testing also making a Commando Windows 10 VM. That's something different we'll have to kind of mess with. Although really, I don't know if we necessarily need like a full Commando VM. We can install a lot of the tools that we need through Chocolate. So this might just be like a moot exercise right here. Let's see. So templates, I don't want to move right now. But one of the things we need to do is I need to shit. I gotta remember how to do this. I need to stage these changes and move them over to the main branch because I'm just gonna commit this one to the main branch. Let's see. I'm gonna do it like God, we got so much shit in here. What was the last commit? I'm gonna remember where we were. More testing. I forgot I was working in the wrong branch. You know what I can do is, well, it's less than ideal. What I can do is come over here. Oh, that's why we were doing this. We were doing the Commando Win10 template here. So we actually did need that template. I think this one I want to not commit.
You can break my heart and crush my dreams, but you can never take my soul. You can crack my stones and melt my steel, but you
and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move new folder in there, templates. And what's going to happen is we're going to move this over to templates here. Commando VM is going to move templates. Let's move that. And the Windows 10 one is going to move over to templates. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add this directory. Shit, where's our .getting? Did we not add a .getting? Then there should be a way. Crap, I gotta remember how to do that. Let's see. So you can add folders to a .getting. Add a directory to getting. Remember how to do this. Oh, so you can literally just do dir to ignore. Got to learn what you're doing with VS Code and Ludus. Not sure how you're using that together. I'm just using VS Code to edit the config files only. That's it. Nothing fantabulous. That's all I'm doing. And right now what I'm doing is just shit and git. So I'm going to do .ignore/ and save that. And now the stuff I put into the .ignore folder is not going to go in there anymore. Okay, it still counts then, so I'm assuming. So what we have now is we've got just the stuff for the Hack the Box lab and the template in here. So what I want to do is I need to commit these and then move them to the main branch. Because I accidentally did this in the wrong branch. So we try something. Git move. Commit to another branch. Warner, you need to store the uncommitted edits to your stash before doing this, so you can do git stash. That's what I was trying to remember. Git stash. Okay. I'm going to move your commits to an existing branch. It'll look like this. Moving to a new branch. Okay, so I'm going to need some command line food. Let's do this. So what we'll do is we're going to do git stash. Yeah. So what this does is it takes all of our uncommitted changes and it's going to just put them into a cache. Oh, I need to change the branch, I think. Git. How do I change that branch? Oh, checkout. Git checkout depends on test. Man, I really named this shittily because I called it depends underscore on dash test.
Trying to find the parts that I lost. How did I lose them?
Reminds me I need to finish setting up Goat. I ran into what appears to be a DNS issue. I should have expected that, to be honest. It's always DNS. I feel stupid now because I have no idea how VS Code interacts with Ludus or how you're editing the files without logging into Ludus and editing with Natto or something. Oh, because only what I'm doing is I'm editing the Git repository. And then, so it's up here in GitHub. I'm just editing the Git repository. I'll push this up there, and then I'll pull it down to the Ludus server. Now, if you really wanted to go edit these on the system, there's an extension for VS Code. Remote SSH, and you can open folders using SCP on a remote system. Now, one of the issues you're going to have with that, though, is that you have multiple users that have their own logins or their own set of user IDs and restrictions to that. So to do that, if you wanted to have like different ranges on different users, it's going to be a big pain in the ass. But if you come in and you just do this with, like, say, like if you're only going to be running like one range at a time with one user, it's fine. You can totally use this. Seems like an extra step, but now you have the files, you can just back it up too. Yeah, exactly. And so if I make any changes over on the Ludus server, what I'm going to do is I'm going to repopulate them manually just over to VS Code and do it that.
Is there anyone else only me? When the sparks don't fly, we hit the ground.
Let's see, will this allow me to stash?
And when we close our eyes, we hear the sound.
Hey, no problem, dude. That's what I'm here for. Stash, stash, commit, stash. There we go, stash. Let's see. Stage all changes. Okay, so they're staged. Now I think I can stash them. There we go. So now that they're stashed, you see how these folders went red? It's because the changes to them and the creation of them don't exist on this branch. I'm going to take this stashed set of file changes, I'm going to move them to a new branch over on Git. So, see, I need to do Git branch, new branch. Okay, so let's do I think it's origin main. I think that's the switch to. Yeah, origin / There we go. And then we should be able to do git stash pop to get it off. Yeah, there we go. Git stash pop. There we go. So now, wait, hold on. Did I just drop those back in here? Oh, damn it. That didn't work. Git stash. Stash them again. All right. So now, I think I need to git branch main here. What does it do? Or checkout main. In case you hadn't noticed, I tried to do things the most script kiddie way. Okay, cool. Oh, sweet. It even updated up here. Now we can do git stash pop. Pull our changes back out, and they're here on the main. Oops. You just opened a door for me. I didn't even know. I didn't even think about that. Hey, dude, no problem, man. I pushed Ludus out as of late as a lab at the office, but no one's looking at it. So I think I might need to create a proof of concept so we can do lab stuff at work, make it easy. So dude, do this one. The Windows Internals PowerShell AD. That's a very simple one. And also over in the Ludus docs, right? They have a couple of the very basic labs. Like the ADCS lab actually might be perfect. Let's see if they have a diagram for it. Even the ADCS lab is like very basic, but it contains a ton of the ADCS escalations from 1 to 13. So there's a whole bunch in here. So maybe check that one out. Here, I'll drop a link to it in the chat. Because with this one, it's a very simple deployment. You could have the users get a WireGuard connection over to it, and then be able to access it and have fun with it. So that would be a good proof of concept one there. You don't have to do anything like super massive like the Game of Active Directory. Volhub would be another good one, right? Because in Volhub, you can go to the Volhub GitHub repo, and then you can add those in here. So you can specify which Docker containers you want Volhub to download and run. It's just a Debian 12 box that's downloading vulnerable Dockerized versions of these applications. That's why I was thinking this one also might be good, right here, Oni. Because once you set this one up, like I said, you can just mix and match your own exploits that you want to have in the environment. So now, let me make sure I can get this shit up into the main branch. We're still working on it a bit. It's definitely not done. Let's try it up here. Still building, no touching. There we go. Because we wanted to have this Commando Win10 template, but that template is still being worked. Read me, let's see. template should a space window install on 10 just in Linux. Just save that real fast. I was actually able to get a desktop at work upgraded to 64 gigs of RAM, but I'm about to wipe it and have to share, have shared with my team. It's my desktop for use at work, but I have my laptop, and that's fine enough. I just want a lab for my team. Okay, yeah, dude. Especially if you want to get them interested in the idea of, hey, here's some cool stuff we can do with this. And you got to remember also, you could have it go through and build a very basic lab, and then basically one that doesn't have any vulnerability configurations to it, just a basic AD lab, that they could then go in and configure the misconfigurations on it so they could actually learn it that way. So that's another great thing you can do with it. Make it just a very bare bones lab of just setting up just maybe the Active Directory setup, like joining the machines to a domain, and that's it. All right, so now we can go commit. So enter message. First pass on Hack the Box. Hack the Box, try hack me. Let's call it VPN. VPN. What I'll do now is just over here on the GitHub desktop, I'll start pushing these out. So I've got those two commits. Wait, hold on. This is saying that my personal account doesn't have access to that GitHub, but it does, because I wanted to be able to push things to it. Yeah, it should have a contributor role. It says I'm not logged in. No way. Goodness. Stand by. Off screen. The hell, for some reason it's saying I can't push this to GitHub. That's what I want is for everyone to get on board with Ludus. We're all doing our own thing. We're all doing our own thing, but it's more doing things as a team. Yeah. Yeah, no, dude, I get it. One of the things that I really hated about when we switched, my old company, we switched from Slack to Teams. It was such a huge change, and nobody knew how to use it effectively for communications. It completely wrecked a lot of team coherence because the team wasn't communicating nearly as effectively. And that was about the time everything kicked off in 2020. So then not only were we not communicating effectively online, but but now we're also all working from home. So it completely wrecked our team coherence. Freaking sucked.
When you're stuck in the middle of a crisis, let me show you where the hope is. Come home,
Alright, so that's just push it.
I will leave a light on.
Oh, it did. Okay, cool. Sweet. Okay. So the basic bones of the Hack the Box Attack Lab is up there now. Cool. Alright. Sweet. I think that's what we're gonna call it for tonight. We'll start working on the Hack the Box Attack Lab a little more. We'll see what we can kind of think of we might need. Because we don't necessarily need a commando BM to do that. But it would be nice if we could build like an effective template, make it real easy to clone out. But also, commando is pretty freaking heavy. So I think it might be more realistic. Let's make like a list of tools that we need. I just noticed the ads. Hang on a second, guys. I had to sneeze. Okay. Cool. So that's what we'll probably pick up with that tomorrow night. We'll work on the Hack the Box one more. I think I might want to do like some Hack the Box a little bit later in the week, just to have something I could just something that's not super high brain power that we could work through. 'Cause I am still working through a lot of things, and so I'd like to keep that in my back pocket and for a night where I'm like just really brain fried. Let's see. Let's go check InfoSec stream. See who's on. Just us. That is atrocious. It's a Saturday night. I know none of you have social lives, other streamers. Let me see who else is up this time. Let's see what we can go around here. Social life, what's that? Yeah, exactly. Actually, I was the most social last week because I got to meet a lot of my coworkers for the first time, and that was really cool. Let's see, who else might be on the Be Fun raid? Let's see who. Yeah, Gripping's on. I'm not gonna give him a raid out. Actually, to it, let's go raid some. Let's do that. Show my man Salty some love. I know he's playing some video games, but you know what? He's good background sound like I am. So, everyone, take care. Y'all have a fantastic night. Thanks for being patient with me the last couple weeks. I know y'all understand, but it still bears saying. Everybody, a lot of folks reached out to me to offer support. I fucking appreciate that so much. And I just want y'all to know that that did not go unnoticed. Even if I didn't respond, things have been a bit crazy. And so everything's moving. We just got to keep moving forward, guys. So I want y'all to remember one thing, that is, I love you. Peace.